Good day everyone. Our topic for today is the mathematics of finance. So our learning objectives, the student expected to differentiate the simple and compound interest, define credit cards, stocks, bonds, and mutual fund. Solve problem involving simple and compound interest. And lastly, display perseverance and patience in dealing with problems associated with mathematics of finance. So we have two types of interest, simple interest and compound interest. First, let's define what is interest. Interest is the amount to be paid on the borrowed money or the amount received on the money lent or halagang babayaran sa hiniram na pera o halagang natanggap sa perang ipinahiram. So let's discuss what is simple interest. Simple interest, it is an interest that is calculated on the balance owed but not on the previous interest, or in the other words, if interest is computed on the original principal during the whole life of the investment, the interest due at the end of the time is called simple interest. It is computed the original principal multiplied by the rate of interest, or the R, and the time, or the T. So the simple interest formula is I is equal to P times R times T, or A is equal to P quantity of 1 plus R times T, wherein I is the amount of interest, P is the principal, R is the rate per period of time, T is the time between the date of loan is made and the date is mature. When we find the time, the formula is T is equal to I over P times R. And if we find the principal, the formula is P is equal to I over R times T. And if we find the rate, the formula is I over P times T. So here are the basic terms to remember. So when we say principal, it is the original amount borrowed. Rate of interest, it is the percent that the borrower pays for the use of the money, commonly expressed as annual interest rate. Time is the length of time usually expressed in years. And maturity date or due date, it is the date on which the loan is to be repaid. And maturity value, it is the total amount the borrower would need to be paid back. For example, Linda invests 300,000 in a building society account. At the end of the year, her account is credited with 5% interest. How much interest had her 300,000 pesos earned in the year? So let's define what is our principal, rate, and time. So P is equal to 300,000. Our rate is equal to 5% or 0.05, and our time is 1 year. So given using the formula I is equal to P times R times T, substitute. So I is equal to 300,000 times our R, 0.05, times 1 hour time. So our interest amount is equal to 15,000 pesos. Another example. A business borrowed 15 million pesos from the bank. If he agrees to pay a 9% annual rate of interest, calculate the amount of interest in 10 years. Again, find our principal, rate, and time. So P is equal to 15 million. Our R is equal to 9% or 0.09, and our t is equal to 10 years. So using the formula again, substitute. So I is equal to 15 million times our rate 0.09 times time, which is 10. So our interest amount is 13,500,000 pesos. So we have two methods of converting time from days to years. We have an exact method, which is the formula is t is equal to number of days divided by 365. And the ordinary method, mostly used by the businessmen, the formula is t is equal to number of days divided by 360. So what is maturity value? When we say maturity value, it is the total amount that the borrower would need to be paid back, or it's usually denoted by M. So the formula is M is equal to P plus I, wherein M is the maturity value, P is the principal, and I is the amount of interest. For example, calculate the maturity value of a 15,000 pesos loan with 9% interest rate in 5 years. First, let's compute the interest. So given our P is equal to 15,000 and our R is equal to 0.09 or 9%. So find I, or the interest. So I is equal to P times R times T. So substitute 15,000 times 0.09, and our time is 5. It's 5 years. So the answer will be 6,750 pesos. So since we need to compute the maturity value, so using the formula M, our principal is 15,000 plus the I, which is 6,750. So our maturity value is 21,750 pesos. So this is our answer.
Compound interest. It is the interest that the sum becomes the new principal amount. So, yung compound interest, ito yung nadadagdag sa pera mo o sa ininvest mo after a year of investment. The formula for annual compound interest including principal sum is A is equal to P, quantity 1, plus R divided by N, quantity raised to N times E. So, ano ba yung mga letters na to? So, where A is final amount, P is the principal amount, R is the rate of interest, N is the number of period in a year, and T is the time in years. So, pagbabasahin siya is A is the final amount is equal to P, principal amount, quantity 1, plus R, interest rate, divided by N, the number of period in a year, quantity raised to N, number of period in a year, times in a year. So, example number 1. If an amount of 5,000 is deposited into a savings account at an annual interest rate of 5% compounded monthly, the value of the investment after 10 years. So, hahanapin daw natin yung final amount. So, bago tayo mag-proceed sa pag-add, kailangan muna natin i-list yung mga given value. So, P is equal to 5,000, R is 5%, convert into decimal 0.05, N is equal to 12. So, paano natin nakuha yung 12? Kasi sabi, compounded monthly. So, meron tayong 12 months in a year. So, proceed tayo sa T. T is equal to 10. So, using our formula, A is equal to P quantity 1 plus R divided by N quantity raised to N times T. So, gagamitin natin yung formula na yan. So, A is equal to 5,000 quantity 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12 quantity raised to 12 times 10 equals to 8,235.05. So, the investment balance after 10 years is 8,235.05 pesos. Yun yung final amount natin. So, another example. Maria puts 25,000 in a savings account paying 10% annual interest compounded quarterly. At this rate, how much money will be in the account after 6 years? So, same sa number 1, example, hahanapin din natin yung final amount. So, isusulat muna natin yung given value. So, P is 25,000, R is 10%, convert into decimal 0.01, and N is 4. So, kaya 4 kasi sabi, compounded quarterly, 4 times in a year. So, T is equal to 6 years. So, using our formula, A is equal to 25,000 quantity 1 plus 0.01 divided by 4 quantity raised to 4 times 6. So, the answer is 45,218.15 pesos. So, the investment balance after 6 years is 45,218.15 pesos. Yun yung final amount natin.
Credit card. A credit card is a payment card issued to user, cardholder to enable the cardholder to pay a merchant for goods and services based on the cardholder promise to the card issues to pay them for the amount so paid plus the other agree charge. Ang credit card ay isang payment card kadalasang ibinibigay ng isang bangko na nagpapahintulot sa mga gumagamit nito na bumibili ng produkto o serbisyo o mag-withdraw ng cash sa credit. Introductory Promotional APR. Many cards offer an introductory APR, usually 0%, on balance transfer or purchase for anywhere from a few months to a year. Ang introductory APR ay isang mas mababa kaysa sa karaniwang APR na nakukuha mo para sa isang takdang panahon kapag nagbukas ka ng isang account. Regular APR after the introductory period, most card offer a range of variables APR depending on your credit worthiness. Cash advance APR. Cash advance carry a separate and often higher interest rate than purchase or balance transfer. Pag sinabing cash advance ay may hiwalay at kadalasang mas mataas na rate ng interest kaysa sa mga pagbili. Penalty APR. If you miss a payment, the credit card Company may raise your rate in addition to charging you a late fee.
A credit card interest rate is the price you pay from borrowing money. For credit cards, the interest rates are typically stated as a yearly rate. This is called the annual percentage rate APR. This formula can be used to estimate the annual percentage rate APR on a simple interest rate installment loan. APR is equal to second divided by n plus 1, wherein ang n ay number of payment and r is the simple interest r. For example, an investor borrowed 35,000 from a bank that advertised a 12% simple interest rate. He agrees to a 5-month installment. Compute for the APR. Gamit ang formula, so ang N ay R at ang R ay 12% or 0.12. So, substitute APR is equal to 12 times 5 times 0.12 divided by plus 1. So, ang sagot ay 0.2 or 20%. So, the annual percentage rate on the loan is approximately 20%.
Consumer loans is when a person borrows money from a lender, either unsecured or secured. Sa madaling salita, ang consumer loan ay anumang uri ng ginawa sa isang consumer ng isang pinagkakautangan. There are several types of consumer loans, and some of the most popular ones include mortgages, refinance, home equity, lines of credit, credit cards, auto loans, student loans, and personal loans. The payment formula for an APR loan is PMT is equal to AR over N divided by 1 minus quantity of 1 plus R over N raised to negative N times T, wherein PMT is the payment, A is the loan amount, R is the annual interest rate, N is the amount of payment per year, and T is the number of years. For example, a certain computer company is offering an 8% annual interest rate for 2 years on all their computer gadget products. Joshua Emmanuel, a computer technician, decided to buy one set of computer unit for 45,000. Find his monthly payment. Una, kailangan natin hanapin ng A, R, N, at T. A is 45,000. R is 8%. We need to convert sa decimal. So, 0.08. N is 12. T is 2. Substitute using the formula PMT is equal to A, which is 45,000. Ang R ay 0.08 over 12 divided by 1 minute's quantity of 1 plus 0.08 over 12 raised to negative 12 times 2. Using our calculator, the answer is 2,035.23 pesos. Ang ibig sabihin, the monthly payment ay 2,035.23 pesos. Calculate APR on payday loans. To calculate the APR on short-term payday loans, 1 divided the finance charge by the loan amount. 2. Multiply the result by 365. 3. Divided the result by the term of the loan. 4. Multiply the result by 100. For example, you get a payday loans for 500 pesos and you pay fee of 50 pesos. The loan must be repaid within 14 days. What is the APR? First step, divided the finance charge by the loan amount. I is equal to 50 divided by 500. Next step, multiply the result by 365. Then divided the result by the term of the loan. So divided by 14 and the last multiply the result by 100. Ang sagot ay 260.71%. Calculating loans payoffs. Loan payoffs is the complete repayment of a loan, principal plus interest, full discharge of an obligation of the return from a deal, decision, or investment. Ang formula sa APR loan payoff is A equal PMT, or the payment 1 minute 1 minus a quantity of 1 plus R, or annual interest rate over the number of payment per year, or the raised to negative UR, or the number of unpaid balance divided by R over N. For example, a lady wants to pay off the loan in 32 months. Her monthly obligation is 850 pesos on a year loan within an annual percentage rate of 7.5%. The fine payment amount, ang PMT ay 850. Ang R ay 7.5 or 0.075. N ay 12 at U is 4 months. Substitute is equal T 850 1 minus quantity of 1 plus 0.075 over 12 raised to negative 4 divided by 0.075 over 12. The answer, or the loan payoff, is 3,347.53 pesos.
A stock is ownership in a company. When you buy a stock, you are called a stockholder. You buy a piece of the company. So if the company does well, you do well. Stocks, also known as equity, is a security that represents the ownership of the fraction of the issuing corporation. Meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng types of the company. Dahil marami ang iba't ibang uri ng types of the companies, tulad ng large company stock, mid cap stock, small cap stocks, international stocks, at marami pang iba. To calculate the dividends paid to a stockholder, example, a stock pays an annual dividend of the 0.80 per share. Calculate the dividends paid to a stock shareholder who has for 50 share of the company's stock. Para makompute ang dividend paid to a shareholder, kailangan nating i-multiply ang annual divided per share at share of the company's stocks. Ang annual divided per share ay 0.80 at ang share of the company's stocks ay 450. Calculate. So ang sagot ay 360. Ang ibig sabihin ang shareholder ay makatanggap ng 360 in a dividends. Stock dividends distribution. The first step is calculating stock dividends distributable into a divide the percentage by 0 by 100 to convert into a decimal. Next, multiply the company's total outstanding share by this decimal. You can find the number of outstanding share is a most stocks quotes. Finally, multiply this amount by the par value of the stocks, which can usually be found in the stockholder equity section of the balance sheet. Once you multiply these figures by one another, the result is the amount the company holds as stock dividends distributable. Example, a company declare a stock dividends of 0.08 share per outstanding share, and there are 200 million total share outstanding before the stock dividends is find. A quick look at the balance sheet tell us that the stock par value is 0.1 per share. So the stock dividends distributable that the company will list on its balance sheet can be calculated as follow. Ang stock dividends distributable is equal to stock dividends 0.08 times share outstanding to 20 million times 0.1. Ang stock dividends distributable ay 16,000.
My report is about bonds. Firstly, definition of bonds. The best way to describe a bond is to think of it like a loan. So, para siyang loan na kung saan ang isang investor ay magpapahiram ng kanyang pera sa isang kumpanya or sa gobyerno. You loan your money to the government or company. And in return, they pay you interest for the term of that loan. So, yun. At ang pagpahiram ng pera sa isang kumpanya ay kapalit nito ay may dagdag na interest. Depende sa kung gaano haba yung term ng loan na pinahiram ng isang investor. Bonds are considered conservative types of investments. So yun, para siyang isang investment. Kasi pag pinahiram niya yung pera niya, tataas siya pagbalik. Because you can choose the length and term of the bond and know exactly how much money will you get back at the end of the term or tinatawag na maturity. Kaya nasabi na malalaman yung exactly amount ng money pagbalik kasi pwede nilang ma-predict depende sa takbo ng ano. There are many types of bonds. Yun nga, example ng bonds yung sa gobyerno, government bonds, corporate bonds, so corporation, short-term bonds, and long-term bonds. So, meron tayong example dito kung paano malaman ang amount na kanyang ininvest sa bonds. Pwede rin malaman rin kung saan yung sa stocks. Example, Harold invested 30,000 in various stocks and bonds. He earned 6% on his bonds and 12% on his stocks. If Harold's total profit on both types of investment was 2,460, how much of the 30,000 did he invest in bonds? So, yun nga, alamin natin kung ilan yung invest niya sa bonds. So, dito, ang hanapin natin yung amount invested in bonds. Sabihin na natin siya yung X. X is equals to amount invested in bonds. Para makuha natin yung X, yung amount invested, X is equals to profit on investment on bonds divided to percent earned on bonds, which is the 6%. So, hanapin muna natin kung ilan yung profit on investment on bonds. At sabihin natin siya yung Y. So, Y is equals to 30,000. Yun yung total invested niya times the 0.12%, which is the percent earned in stocks. So, mamaya, ma-minus natin siya sa total profit, which is the 2,460. So, Y is equals to 30,000 times 0.12 is equals to 3,600. So, yung minus natin siya sa total profit para malaman na natin kung ilan yung profit sa bonds. Kasi, minus na natin siya sa total profit nung pag tinipes natin siya sa percent ng stocks. So, pag minus yun, di malalaman natin yung profit sa bonds. So, profit on investment is equals to 1,140. So, mahanap na natin yung amount invested in bonds. Kasi, meron na sa atin yung profit. So, ang gawin na lang natin ay yung formula kanina. Amount invested in bonds is equals to profit on investment, which is the 1,140 yung kinuha natin. Divide na natin sa percent earned ng bonds, which is the 6%. So, X is equals to profit investment, 1,140, divided sa percent earned, which is the 6%. So, gagawin natin siyang decimal, magiging 0.06. So, 1,140 divided by 0.06 is equals to 19,000. So, yun, nahanap na natin yung amount invested sa bonds. So, ngayon, mahanap naman natin kung ilan yung ininvest sa bonds. Simple lang, yung total invest niya 30,000, 'di ba? Tapos yung sa bonds na nakuha natin 19,000. So yung natitira, yun na sa stocks. So 30,000 minus 19,000 is equals to 11,000. Yun na yung ininvest niya sa stocks. So i-check naman natin ngayon kung tama ba. 19,000, yun yung amount invested in bonds na na-compute natin kanina. Times 0.06 plus 11,000 yung amount invested in stocks times 0.12 yung percent earned ng stocks. Dapat mag-equals siya sa 2,460 para malaman natin kung tama. Kasi pag equals siya, tama. So, yung sa bonds, 19,000 times 0.06% earned ng bonds is equals to 1,140. Yun yung profit ng bonds. So, ipa-plus natin siya sa profit ng stocks. Kasi yung total profit, 2,460. Dapat yung maging total. Plus, 11,000 invested sa stocks times 0.12 yung percent earned is equals to 1,320. Yun naman yung profit ng stocks. So, pag pinagsama natin yung profit ng bonds and stocks, dapat maging 2,460. So, 1,140 plus 1,320 is equals to 2,460. So, tama siya. So, ganun lang kung paano i-compute. Kung paano mahanap yung in-invest niya sa bond and whether sa stocks.
Mutual fund represent another way to invest in stock or cash alternative. Ang mutual fund ay tumutukoy sa collective investment na ipinagsama ang salapi ng iba't ibang investor at ini-invest nila ang kanilang pera sa stocks, bonds, money market instrument, and other securities. Ang formula para sa net asset value of mutual funds ay net asset value is equal to A minus L divided by N, wherein A is the total found asset, L is the total found liabilities, and N is the number of shares outstanding. For example, a mutual fund has 700 million worth of stock, 9 million worth of bonds, and 2,500,000 in cash. The fund liabilities amount to 3 million. There are 30 million shares outstanding. A. Solve for the asset value. Para makuha ang net asset value using the formula, net asset value is equal to A minus L divided by N. Since meron tayong 700 million worth of stock, 9 million worth bonds at 2,500,000, kailangan natin i-add lahat para makuha ang total found asset. Net asset value is equal to 700 million plus 9 million plus 2,500,000 minus 3 million divided by our 30 million. The net asset value is equal to 23.63 pesos. B. How many share will you buy? Para mahanap ang number of share, the formula is number of share is equal to amount invested divided by cost per share. Substitute 20,000 divided by 23.62. The number of share is 846 shares.
Treasury bills, or popularity known as T-bills, are peso-dominated short-term fixed income securities issued by Republic of the Philippines through Bureau of Treasury. T-bills are issued of a discount to the maturity value rather than paying a coupon rate of interest. The appreciation between issuance price and maturity price provides the interest return. For example, a certain machine company invests in 80,000 Philippine Treasury bill at 5.56% interest for 30 days. The bank through which the bill is purchased charges a service fee of 40. What is the cost of the treasury bill? Para makuha ang cost of the treasury bills, una kailangan kuhanin ang amount of interest using the formula PRT. P is 80,000, R is 5.56%. Kailangan i-convert sa decimal point, kaya ang sagot ay 0.0556 at ang TI 30 days or 30 to 360, kaya 360 dahil ginamit ang ordinary method na madalas ginagamit ng mga businessmen for converting from day to years. Substitute is equal to 80,000 times 0.0556 times T 30 or 30 days, kaya ang amount of interest ay 370 pesos. Since ang hinahanap ay cost of the treasury bill, ang formula ay cost is equal to face value minus interest plus service fee. So substitute 80,000 minus 370 plus 40 pesos. Our cost of the treasury bills is 79,670. Home ownership, owner occupancy or home ownership, is a form of housing tenure where a person called the owner occupier, owner occupant, or home owner owns the home in which he or he lives. This home can be house, apartment, condominium, or a house cooperative. Pag sinabing home ownership, ay ito yung pagmamayari ng bahay. So that's the end of our discussion. Sana marami kayong natutunan about the mathematics of finance.